Welcome to Triple H, Hamilton Happy Hour, where we talk about pianos, talk about music, and everything else in between. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Hamilton Happy Hour, Triple H. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you watching us. And today we are without Mike Hayden because he's on the road and had to deliver a piano down to Key West for a rental, one of our Steinways. And so he's going to be back late. So he won't be on this podcast. But we do have Mike.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
And now we have our Aunt Rosie here.
Hello, everybody.
So Aunt Rosie has been with us for about 10 years now, right?
10 or 11 years. Yeah.
All right. And so we figured this would be kind of a family podcast, probably a little short one. We got a big family, but short podcast. And today was a day.
Oh,
Have you all ever had one of them days that's just like, you just want to crawl into bed? Because we had one of those days here at the shop. Just stuff happening, and just one thing after the other. So
anything
it's like
that go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah, well, more could go wrong, and we don't need that.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Because tomorrow's another day. But yeah, it was just one of those days. Everybody's had those. Where it's just like, what else? What? Okay, now this. Nothing with our pianos and the work that we do. It was the building pretty much. Right? This and this, the compressor and the bathroom and blah 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 blah. It's like so. Anyway, we still love this building because we own it, so we still love it. But so for those of you who do not know, Mike is the son-in-law to Rosie.
Yep.
And Mike's wife is Katie, which is Rosie's daughter. And we have actually known each other since 9th grade. Because my 9th grade, not yours.
Right. Yeah.
She looked at me like, oh.
Okay, I know new math, but that's ridiculous.
Because I went to school with your kids.
Right.
And then all through high school. And Katie and I were in the same grade. Elizabeth was a year ahead of us, your older daughter. And Chris, your son, was a little younger than us.
Yeah, a year younger.
Yeah. Right. So that's how long we've actually known each other. Right. So let's really see how old we are right now. That would have been 1991, right?
Yeah.
So 1991, and it's 2025. Yeah, whatever that
is. Which Katie, my wife, is also your wife's cousin.
Which I've known
Correct.
Tina since she was a baby.
Yep. So that's even further than you and I know each other. But I remember coming over to your house, after school because Tina's brother, James, him and I were best friends. And, he would come over and I would come over and, that's how I knew you guys. So it's kind of funny how in time, really how fast it goes when you start to think back of how long you knew someone for. Mm-hmm. You've been married to Katie for
20 years next month.
Right. So that's how long I've known you. A little longer than that. It was before you guys got married. But that's how long we've known each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we've known each other 22 years.
Yeah.
Been helping you off and on for 21.
Mm-hmm.
So
and the thing is that, I mean, if you really think about it, that's got to be a recipe for success in the sense that not just we were friends before we were family, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
And then we became family and still stayed friends. Sometimes that doesn't happen. It's like we're family, but we're not friends.
Yeah, right.
So with that part of it, like, it shows the what's the saying? The test of time.
Test of time.
Right. And so it's just like Tina and I have been married for over 20 years, and you guys are at 16? No.
What? 20 years next month.
20 years next month. Okay, sorry. See?
Bad math.
Time flies. I think Tina and I are...
Which I think our friendship and bond has grown tighter, since, Katie and I got married and everything, and we worked together. And, I think it's been a great, relationship. So
absolutely. Well, and I think how relationships, no matter what they are, whether it's friends, family, it is, you feel my weakness, I feel yours. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Who's that?
It's my wife.
Oh.
Hello. Hey. All right. Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Katie's
sounds
coming
good.
back from New
All right,
Orleans
love
from
you.
a convention.
Mm.
So
They're getting ready to land or leave, and they'll be about 20, 30 minutes early. So about 7:30.
Okay, that's good.
cool.
I gotta shut my phone off too.
I'm good. Mine's
I
already off.
I thought I had my phone turned off.
So you started with us 11 years ago or so, and you are our stripper.
Right. Yes, I was your stripper.
Furniture or piano stripper. Okay, I did pay her in dollars, but you
Not
said,
singles.
but you did help us with that part in the beginning. Now, back then, I think there was just like 4 of us, right?
Right.
When we first started. So you started helping us with that because you liked doing the stripping part
Right.
and the sanding part, and then moved on into what you're doing now, which is the inventory and getting the supplies together for the refinishers and anybody else that needs them, and finding the stuff for me that I can't find, which is pretty much all the time. I think it's because you hide it on purpose. That's
No,
why.
I don't. I have a good memory where it is, and I can recall what, because when I used to work with children, that's what I had to do, is remember where everybody was.
Right. And you were doing that part-time.
Part-time.
And then we got together and you started working with us part-time, and then you retired and started working with us full-time.
Yep.
So it's a big help to us because, with all the avenues in this company, we were talking about it earlier, where we're at that point, like us 3 here, for instance, we need assistance to do what we do because we are so spread thin as far as what we all do.
Right.
You could use some help, which we're working on trying to find. You guys are, we're bringing in another guy to help with the moves and with the other stuff.
Yep.
We're also trying to transition some other things too, like you did the QRS class that we just had last week. QRS is a player installation company in Seneca, Pennsylvania, and they install player systems.
Quality, reliable systems.
There you go. Hey, did you tell Mark that at the class? No, we need to tell him that. So because there's no term for their QRS. There never was, but they've been around since the year 1900. So 125 years. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So trying to transition into you doing, knowing more about the player systems. And I know we work together on tunings and things like that. So that as we get older, we can alleviate some of the harder tasks that are on us to have the younger people that can, for the next 20 years, help us.
Yeah. That their bodies, are still young and can handle some of the stuff that we do, and, take pressure off of our old bodies.
Right. Because when you're moving a 1,200 pound piano, it's going to take its toll on you, sooner or later. And the older we get, the harder it gets.
Absolutely.
And I don't care who you are. You can be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm sure he can't lift what he lifted back then. It's just human nature. That's just what happens. We all get older and things start to, slow us down or weigh us down. Mine's my belly. It really weighs me down. But it's, that's just what we're trying to focus on here at the company too, is we do have 4 generations here, not just because Brandon, my son, is here, but we have, like Dylan, who just started. He's 21. We have Trevor,
21.
Brandon, and we're trying to get to these younger guys or girls, Anna, she's 20. And getting them to, hey, listen, this is a great business to be in. On top of it, I'm not just saying this because it's our company, but it's a great company to work for. Now it's trying to get everybody to, hey, listen, do you want to be a lifer here? Do you want to have a career? We can help with that.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
But you got to want it.
You have to want it. And you got to have a fire under your butt.
Yes.
Because that's the thing that you can't, when I don't know if we ever talked about this before on the other podcast, but someone who's ripe, RIPE, responsible, intelligent, professional, and experienced or educated, that type of person, when they come through the doors, because we get asked all the time for people to, hey, I'm looking for a job. Well, I got to figure out if you're ripe or not, you know, because if you are, then it's, you know, easier on us. We can't train you to RIP.
Yep.
We can teach you the education and the experience. The rest you already have to come in with,
Correct.
you know, and it just makes it easier on our end. For instance, even with tuning, with someone who says, I want to learn how to tune pianos, it's like, well, you got to have some knowledge with it. I know that with you and you don't, but we're working on that with the ear training first. And then it comes to technique, and then it comes to that part of it. But it's also trying to find the time to do it.
I'm out on the road all day long, every day. It's like,
yeah, because you did a long distance run to Georgia, Jacksonville and Georgia for a move. And then you were just in Sanibel.
Yep.
You know, so it's hard because we're so busy. You know, we have 3 trucks and 2 of them are on the road all the time. The third one's just kind of to fill in, you know, as a backup. We always have backup here. That's why if you ever come here and you see a million tools, that's why, because we have it not just in our tools, but we have it in our vehicles.
Something breaks down, we've got a replacement.
Right. So we can back ourselves up, you know, and that's the thing, that not just backing up the people that work here, but backing up the equipment. We have 2 compressors. You know, for a reason. They're both used for different things, but if we needed one, like one of the things that happened today, brand new compressor.
The good thing is they're still linked together, so they can still work.
Right.
So I told them, keep going. Don't stop.
Right.
You know, you can keep moving. I said they are both still, you know, because I also do the maintenance on the shop too. So when I'm not on the road.
Well, and sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
With the compressors and stuff like that, I know some of the stuff about the compressors, and I know who to get in touch with to make sure that the rest of the stuff gets done by calling Mike and saying, hey, this is happening. What should I do?
Right.
And stuff.
And for instance, one of the reasons why today was so bad is, okay, so we bought a compressor. It was like 5 years ago, right? The other one that the
2019,
the tank cracked, right?
Right.
Those tanks should last you 20 years.
Exactly.
Can't be fixed. Okay, so we go and buy a new one, and 3 weeks later, it freaking breaks. It's like, are you kidding me? Seriously?
Yeah.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
That pipe got so hot and it's discolored and separated at the, you know, where it screws into the compressor.
Yep. And you know, it's of course that's life. Things like that are going to happen. You're going to get a speeding ticket. You're going to
hush your mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have a ride to go.
not going with. But you know, things like that happen. That's just life. But when you have friends and family to console you or to know that they got your back, it kind of makes it easier. You know, the load isn't so heavy on one person's shoulders. Yeah. You know, I know, unfortunately, Saturday, you know, you have to put your dog down, which is sad, but you know that you have family to,
and we've known it's coming. It's just a matter, you know, unfortunately we had to make that timing to, you know, the call, you know, and it's not fair to her. So we need to, you know, say our piece and, you know, let her go.
And unfortunately, it's just life. Yep, you know, I mean, absolutely. We can get into a whole religious conversation, but then that's a whole nother conversation.
We ain't going there.
You know, but the beauty of family is that they got your back.
Yep.
You know, if they are true family, you absolutely. Know, when you have somebody that can, you know, be a shoulder to lean on or to cry on or to know, you know, hey, I'm not feeling too good. Can you take me to the hospital?
We've done that before.
You know, it's, drop everything what you're doing and go.
Yep.
You know, and do what you got to do. And that's part of it. But then you add the friendship on top of that. Now that's the icing on the cake.
Yep.
Because when you're friends, you know, and family, once again, you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. You know, not that there hasn't ever been, you know, bumping heads. I mean, it happens, but
it's always going to happen.
It's kind of few and far in between here, with everybody here. And I think that's the other reason why the shop runs as good as it does is because we consider everyone who works here as part of the family.
Correct.
We don't have to be
They're
blood.
extended family.
Right. We don't have to be blood to be family.
Right.
It's an extension of the family. It's like Hamilton Piano family. And it's kind of the same with our customers, in my opinion, where I tell my customers, when they buy a piano from us, even though this piano is yours and you own it, it's in your home, it's still kind of part of the family to me, because we got this piano and did everything that we did to it. So we service it. We want to take care of it. It's the same thing as if we were taking care of a pet or a baby or something like that. It's yours. You can do what you want with it, but we want to keep it, going for you. Not just because it's work. It's because it's what's best for the piano.
Yep.
It's what's best for you. It's going to save you heartache in the long run, where if you don't service it and don't take care of it, and things go, you're going to end up having problems.
Yeah. Well, that's just like we delivered a piano to a customer today that we put a new player in it. And he says, well, this piano is going to be moved over to this area. Da, 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 da. He goes, I'm ripping the wall out. I'm leveling this and we're doing this. I said, well, we do storage too. Really? I said, yes, sir. He goes, I'll be calling you. I said, we don't just do players. We don't just do this. We also do this. We also do that. So, we have different avenues that you can utilize. So,
and I think too, even with myself, when it was just me out on the road, but before we had a half a dozen other tuners, I would tell customers, I give them the pamphlet. I would, tell them, if you ever need anything, this and this and this. And there was a time that I had talked to a customer. He had this piano, wasn't so great. And I said, if you ever want to upgrade, let me know. So super nice guy. It's for his daughter. She plays very well. And so long story short, he didn't call for a little bit, even though I was tuning it year after year after year. Then there was kind of a break. And then he calls me and he goes, hey, can you come fix my piano? So I'm okay. Yeah, no problem. So I go there. I'm like, this is not the same piano. He goes, yeah, I bought this from somewhere else. And I said, do you know all the problems with this piano? He goes, yeah, my daughter did this and this and this. She's complaining about it. And I said, well, it should be under warranty from the dealer that you got it from. Mm-hmm. You need to call them. We did. They've been out several times. They can't fix it. And I said, okay, well, I can do it, but why didn't you call me? I sell pianos. I didn't know you sold pianos. It's one of those things that I think if anybody thinks about a piano, they just need to remember Hamilton, because there's everything that we do, like the custom work that we're doing now, the purple and black Yamaha with the custom legs, that is looking really, really good.
It does look sharp.
The color purple, not the movie, the piano, but it
makes it pop.
It pops, and because it reflects off of the black, which I didn't even think about that happening. Really makes the black look a little more purplish too.
Really? I haven't noticed that yet, but.
Well, we're going to do pictures on it tomorrow, and then that'll be on our gallery page. And then the driftwood piano, the one that we bleached and bleached and bleached, that one came out really good. Gerhard did a really good job on that. And he did the purple and black piano.
So he's doing a great job. Good job, Gerhard.
Yep, good job. And so the thing is that with those pianos, we put our heart and soul into every piano that we work on. And the reason why it means so much to us when it's in a customer's home is because we will have touched that piano more than probably the customer ever will. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, unless it's one of those things where it's like, they're playing in a half hour or an hour a day. And most of the time that is the case, but sometimes it's not. Correct. I think with these, it's going to be that way because one, it's not just a showpiece or a piece of furniture. They're good pianos that the purple and black one they bought from us, which and the other one was their Steinway that they wanted it to look like this certain color. But yeah, it turned out really, really nice.
One good thing we have here too is like our refinishers, like Diego and stuff like that, will help other refinishers with a problem if they have a problem, because he's worked with Steinway and stuff. But he's helping our new guy Craig, and he's helped Gerhardt to fix problems that they're having, or any of the buffers and stuff like that. He's helped.
Right.
And stuff, which is where the family comes in, is part of the family, that we're all out there to help each other.
And that's the beauty of his experience and his knowledge, is that he's willing to pass it on to the people here, like
The ones that'll accept it.
the ones that'll accept it and listen to him.
Right.
It's like when we had the QRS class, and one of the guys that was in the
Right.
class, he's trying to, he's like, no. He's like, listen, this is what we do here. We have our tricks, we have our knowledge, we have our experience. And, when you're settled with where you're at and you're happy, there's no reason to change anything.
Correct.
Grass
isn't always greener on the other side.
No, it's not. But that was a good class. There was
was.
only a few techs, but we really got along great. We had fun. It's always fun being with Mark and Lori. They were
Absolutely.
on the podcast previous to this one.
Yep.
And they're such good people. And
really are.
QRS is such a good company. They really go above and beyond for their customers, and we're customers. So they're good to us
And our customers.
Right. And it's, if you need something, you just call them.
Yeah.
But
Or
Mark,
call us, and then we'll call them.
Well, and also they said that if you call, you can set up an appointment for somebody to, at a certain time, for them to call you back, and they'll answer the questions and stuff you need.
Correct. Lori, you get in touch with Lori, and then Lori will delegate who it needs to go to.
right. And what we're personally trying to work on here. So there's a gentleman that I met a couple weeks ago. His name's Rashawn, and he has this business with this AI programming thing. So we need extra help, not just in the office, but also in the rebuilding with inventory and all this stuff. So this program that he has, that he's come up with, is going to really, really help us. But not just us, QRS. I know for a fact that what he's told us that his program can do is going to help other companies like QRS. And once we get this all dialed in with the company, I'm gonna, I already talked to Mark and Lori about it, and they're very interested in it. But I think it's going to alleviate a lot of the headaches that you get from mundane stuff that you have to do, in a business. And it's not just our business. I mean, it's going to help numerous businesses. But the more I learn about it, and the more we do, then we can talk about it some more, because I really don't know much about it.
Well, and also too, just because you have that program to work on helping out on other things, there are certain things that program can never do, like refinishing, the fine tuning, and all of that
I'm waiting
stuff.
to see how AI is going to compensate for human error. Because AI can tell you still have, you've got 3,000 washers. If your person picked the amount of washers out of there properly, then you'll have 3,000 washers. But if someone lost one, dropped one, didn't realize so how's that going to compensate, for your inventory? You're still going to have to do inventory, because AI is not going to come in and do inventory.
Right. You still have to input it.
Correct.
It's just,
and be knowledge that, hey, I missed one, or I took too many. Let me calculate it. So that way AI can be efficient.
Right. It's what we're going to put into it to get out of it. It's the same thing like with the human body. You only get out of it what you put into it.
Right.
If you eat right, you which I don't do, but then you feel better, you're healthier, you live longer, so on and so forth. A car, you put good gas in, you change the oil, whatever you put into it is going to treat you back right, as long as you're your pet, so on and so forth. That's the same thing with AI. If you do, you have to input. It's like with Trello. When you put the information in, if you put it in right, then you have it there, and it'll give it back to you.
Right.
But I'm really excited about that part of expanding the business without expanding the walls, because that is a whole avenue that I feel is just going to be revolutionary to the business, because piano world is such an analog company or business. It's not digital. It's not this and this and this. So with everything that we do digitally, Trello and Google Sheets and all this stuff, and we show
Roland.
And we show our customers or techs that come through the shops, because now we're having people coming from all over the country to see the shop, which is nice. They look at us like, wow, you're so far ahead than most shops, and because you're doing so many different things digitally. Because we're trying to get into that part of it where we're combining the two, not just with rolling because it's a digital piano, but with the business side of it. Correct. And making our lives easier. That's the thing. We are always trying to expand in the way that makes our life easier. We don't want to make things harder on us. Why? Because we're getting older and it's already getting harder on its own. So why make it harder?
You guys are getting older. I'm not. I'm saying the same.
Yeah. You're young.
Hey, I don't mind my age. I like my age. I plan on living a lot longer. So.
I'm not too upset with my age. I just wish I took care of myself better to get to this age. I'm kind of surprised I even lived this long, but it is what it is.
You and me both.
But that's the beauty of the generations below us here at the shop, is because they're not as dumb as we are. What I mean?
More outgoing and trying new things outside the box.
Right. But they're going to live to be 150. I mean, even my son, just in general, because he is just he's not a stressful guy. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do drugs, he doesn't do any of that stuff. So he's, going to be one of these guys that's going to be a health nut the rest of his life. And he's 21 years old. So that's good.
Right. He'll be around to take care of you.
Yes. It's probably going to be in about 5 years. 5 years, sorry, son. But that's the beauty of it too. And once again, comes back to family and friends. When you have that support and you have everybody circling around you, it's just like there's stuff that happens here at the shop, and we all, like when Donnie passed away. Okay. Yeah. So for those of you don't know, Donnie was a very, very good friend of mine, and he was one of our piano movers. He ended up, he was a piano mover for over 20 years. He went, did another job, and then I asked him to come work for us, and he did. And he was with us about 3 years, I think, 3 years, right?
3 years, yeah.
And he died all of a sudden one night, and he ended up buying the house next to us, and we were all close friends. And it was, we all got through that together,
right?
Because that's what we do.
Exactly.
Even Hayden wasn't part of Hamilton Piano at that time. He still went to the funeral with us to support.
Right.
And he, there's something to be said about that, because when you surround yourself with the right people, you realize that you're not alone when something drastic is going to happen, because unfortunately it is going to happen one way or the other. You never know what the scenario is going to be. That's going to be drastic, but it is going to happen. And in life, you have to roll with the punches.
Yep.
It just, do you roll with them by yourself, or do you have people that you're much stronger when your arms are linked together? You know what I mean? And you've got people surrounding you.
Yep.
Well, also with Donnie and stuff, because he was so much a part of here, when certain things happen, we go, Donnie wouldn't put up with that.
My Lombardi's broken.
My Lombardi's broken. Donnie would also say, for the simple fact, he was such a good guy, and that was rough. But
but we pulled together,
right,
and positive, proceeded.
And what we did, which I think was the best thing we possibly could have done, is the next day after we It happened on Sunday. Called everybody. We all came to work Monday. Liz, his wife, and her kids, they came, and we had our own little
memorial
of that right then
there.
and there, where we said what we wanted to say, and then we all said, we're done for today. We just came in to meet, and now do what you want to do today.
Correct.
Because you don't know what you're going to get tomorrow.
Absolutely.
I'm a big believer in that. I just don't do it. I'm a big believer because no one's promised tomorrow.
Nope. Today's a gift.
Right. And, it's like when I'm exercising in the morning, I'm like, am I going to make it through this routine?
Exactly.
I sweat on this and that. I'm like, but you have to look at it that way. It's like tomorrow's never promised. So the responsible thing to do is make sure everything is in effect to, that
everything's taken care of.
Everything's taken care of,
does happen.
So you have to plan that way.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just me. This is just how I think. I personally think that tomorrow's not going to come. Now, I'm going to tell you why I think that. It makes me feel good that it did. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It kind of makes that day better. So like the saying goes, it's better to be, above ground than 6 feet under. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel, in the sense that, okay, we're still having a bad day. I still was able to get some laughs out of me, just by trying to reverse, gears. And because trust me, I did not want to laugh today.
I tried making you a couple times. It just wasn't happening. I said, all right, let me just go do something else.
But, and one of the things that kind of got me out of a funk too was my second appointment today that I went to. I'm dealing with the customer, and I'm working with her on her piano, the Steinway she bought from us. And she was just kind of, these notes up here, this and that, and I said, okay, well, let me tune it to your ear. I explained to her, okay, this sounds good to you? She goes, yes. I said, it's not in tune, but if this is what pleases your ear, that's fine. It's your piano. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do what you want. It was just about a couple octaves in the upper register. Took care of it. She was happy. And I explained how the player system works, the new player system we put in. And, but that got me out of my funk for the stuff that was happening in the morning. And then there was a whole new funk that happened when I got back to the shop with the bathroom issue and the compressor. And then it's just, but it's life. It's basically, how are you going to handle it when this stuff hits the fan? Because it's going to, one way or the other. Mm-hmm. It's just going to, but, with us being together for so long and knowing each other for so long, we kind of remember back in the day at the old shop when everyone was gone. It was just you and me, and we would rearrange the whole shop.
Oh yeah.
And everyone would walk in and be like, what? Well, no, it works better this way. We did that numerous times.
And not only one time we would put it and go, well, no, wait a minute. And we 5 or 6 times we would rearrange it before we left that night. Mm-hmm. We would rearrange the shop over and over and over again.
Yeah, we had and it was
a lot smaller shop.
There wasn't as much to move, but we did it.
That's why everything here has wheels.
Yeah. But we would do that, and that's the beauty of always thinking ahead and you're trying to do better, whether it's the work you're doing to the instrument, it's the way the shop is laid out, so on and so forth. There's always ways that you can expand your knowledge and make things easier. That's why when I did the class in Clearwater, I was explaining to everybody at the Steinway Gallery, I did a class, and I was trying to explain, we try to have everything at our fingertips, because when it's there, it's easier for you to get to. You're not searching for something. And when you're doing a rebuild and you're taking a piano apart and there's parts missing, right then and there, this screw's missing. Grab the screw. It's already ready to go for when we got to put the piano together. When you're ahead of the game, it makes life easier. When you don't think ahead, it makes life harder.
Absolutely.
And that's in anything in life, not just business, but
Right.
even personal life.
Correct.
Or driving down the road. Is this car going to swerve? Is he going to slam on his brakes? Is his tire going to blow? You know, when you think like that, because that's how I think. I had one time, this ladder, I'm on 95, and this ladder is spinning in front of me. And I think I had my old Ram at the time, and it's spinning, and it's spinning. And I'm like, how am I going to get past this thing? And it was flat on the ground, but it must have just fallen off a truck, and it's spinning, spinning, spinning. And somehow I maneuvered just enough that it went underneath my truck, but missed all of my wheels and got around it, you know? And you have to think like that. Like what's going to happen is this tow truck driver, is the car going to fall off his tow truck, you know, and come crashing down. And I think about that all the time. It actually happened to me one time at a red light. I'm sitting there and I'm like, hopefully that thing's attached right. And as soon as he took off, the car fell off. Boom, boom, right in front of me. And I'm like, this is why I think the way that I do, you know. But basically, this podcast was about family. It's about, you know, we talked about it before, is how rich do you think you are? And when you have family, you're as rich as anybody else on this planet.
Absolutely.
When you don't, that's where you need to.
Not always about money.
It's not.
Money can
not.
only get you so far. If you don't
Right.
have, you know, family and health, money's not going to do you any good.
It can't buy you friends. You know,
Well,
Well,
you'll
I can buy
think,
you.
you'll think they're your friends.
right. Exactly. Until the money's gone, then they're gone.
Exactly.
You can't buy you love. You know, it can buy you cars, houses, boats, yachts, whatever, but it can't buy you what the true meaning of life is.
Absolutely.
Which is the family that is in front of you.
Yep.
It is the family that is going to give you what's reciprocated, you know, between each other.
Right.
And you can't buy that.
No.
You can't go to a store and say, I'd like to buy a mom. You know?
No, we're one of a kind.
No, that you got to go to the web, the deep dark web.
Dark web. But you know, it's the things that make you rich are what you have when there's tangible things. Okay, there's this table, the microphone, the cup, so on and so forth. But then that's money can buy that stuff, right? It can't buy what we got right here.
No, absolutely not.
They can't buy the friendship that we have here.
Nope.
That's something that's built on trust. It's built on faith into the person. You know, it's built into the relationship of the friendship. You can't buy any of that stuff.
It's all bonded.
Right. Exactly. And when you have that, which our family, see, my family's very small. It's just technically the blood side of it is my son and my daughter and my brother. Okay. My family is all gone. And then I do have cousins and aunts and uncles in Germany, but don't really know them that well. But I do talk to them once in a blue moon. And it's cool that I'm like, oh man, my cousin from Germany texted, or I call him, and this and that. But now on that side of the family, your all side of the family that I'm so lucky to be part of is pretty big.
Yeah.
So there's that whole army of people that got my back, and I bought my way into the family by marrying Tina. But
I did too then.
that's true. That's true.
But I have my own army of a family on the other side too. So.
Right.
But when we went up to Georgia, we weren't sure if we were going to do a 24-hour turnaround. So I called my mom and said, Mom, can we stay? Yeah, just let me know when you're going to be there. I'll leave the gate open. You can use this room, you use that room, I'll see you in the morning. So, we had that to fall back on, so which is great, because, who knew what was going to happen, but, she was there to back us up once again. Right. Family, bond, and she would have done it for you, just, hey, ask your mom if I can stay there. Yeah, no problem. She just said no, when's he going to be here?
Yeah, so. Toby can sleep with the horses.
You can sleep in Grandma's room.
It has its own bathroom.
Yeah.
We're set. We're all set.
Not its own urinal.
You're on your own on that
But yeah, and that's the thing that I hope that people realize in life is that you have to, there's a lot of good songs out there that talk about family and about how rich you can be when you have that. So I'm very blessed and rich to have you guys as my family and everybody associated with it. That's not on the podcast, because if we had that, we'd have to have like 20 more cameras and 100.
Could we bring the grandkids and the great grandkids too?
Yeah.
Oh man, now we need like 100 microphones. But you know, that's
You're buying.
and you can take us all out to dinner afterwards.
There you go. Sweet.
But you know, that's the beauty of it. So I know this wasn't about music. It wasn't about Hamilton Piano. Well, it kind of was to a point.
Yep.
But you know, just wanted to give you an insight into how our company is and show you somebody else that works here too. So we hope you enjoyed the podcast, everybody, and look us up on YouTube or Facebook,
Spotify.
Yeah. Info@hamiltonpianoco.com. You can email us or visit our website at hamiltonpianoco.com, or give us a call at 561-965-8090. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We really hope you enjoyed it, and have a good night.
Have a good night.